Hello again. One of the main reasons my adventure is based in Hawes is because my mother's ancestors all came from or returned to that area. Many are buried at Hawes or in Quaker burial grounds nearby. The Hunter family were predominantly farming people who lived modestly and had many children. They were particularly good at recycling Christian names. Occasionally, a mother's surname was added as a middle name, which was particularly helpful to those of us who find genealogy both rewarding and frustrating. Often, when a child died, they would name the next one after the dead child. The siblings of the family were excellent at naming their children after their parents, grandparents, and siblings. When there were a large family of 6 to 9 children, it becomes a nightmare attributing these children to the correct parents. On top of that, their proximity to each other was often never far. Thus, children were baptised in the same parish church. Sometimes a notation was made as in Simon Senior or Simon Junior, and occasionally reference was made to whom the mother was, as if she had nothing to do with producing the child. Thankfully, the Quakers were excellent at record keeping, often naming parents, grandparents, and luckily my earliest ancestors were predominantly Quakers, although not always, which caused some major problems. John Hunter and Jane Thwaite married in Starling Busk in 1745. Jane is recorded as being from Thorn House, and they were married by banns in the Church of England. Jane's mother was Anne Cloughton, the same family who later owned Smelter House in Bishopdale, about 4 miles from Aysgarth. Jane died in 1776. John Hunter was born in Marset in 1716. He died at Carr End Farm in 1767. John is buried in Bainbridge and described as a yeoman, which is a farmer. Interestingly, their 4 children, John, Simon, Agnes and Isabel, were all baptised Quakers. And from them, my line continues through their son, Simon. Simon is my 4th great-grandfather. He was born in 1750. He married Alice Middlebrook in a Quaker ceremony on the 10th of January 1776 in Counterside. Alice was born on the 13th of November in 1752 at Counterset. Her parents were Margaret Smith and James Middlebrook. The Quaker marriage records list them as being from Counterset and marrying in Bainbridge. Both James and Margaret are buried at Bainbridge. But I digress. So back to Simon and Alice, who lived at Smelter and raised 9 children. Of the 9, there was yet again another Simon born at Smelter House near Aysgarth. This Simon was baptised in 1787 and is my 3rd great-grandfather. Simon was a Quaker man, and he married a non-Quaker woman, Mary Willan. They married by licence on the 27th of May 1726 in the Church of England in Aysgarth. Simon was from Apperset and Mary was from Hawes. They lived at Apperset and Simon was a farmer. Mary Willan was the daughter of Thomas Willan, born at Hawes and baptised in 1794. Mary died in 1881 and Simon in 1886. Together they raised 5 children, none of whom were baptised Quakers, but they are registered in the Quaker registry. The parents recorded as not in registration. And what's more surprising is that both Mary and Simon are buried in the Quaker section of the Hawes Cemetery. Moving along, Simon and Mary's children were Esther Willan Hunter, born in 1829, Alice Mary Hunter, born in 1832, Thomas Willan Hunter, born in 1837, and Yes, another Simon, Simon Hunter, my second great-grandfather, born on the 22nd of April 1827 in Apposett, registered in Quaker registers, although his parents are not in registration. I think Simon must have been somewhat of a rebel and strong-headed, because at age 20 years and 7 months he sat in church where the banns had been read for the past 2 weeks prior to him marrying the love of his life, Anne Alton. The first Sunday, 28th of November, the second Sunday was the 5th of December, and on the third Sunday, which would have made the marriage legal, his father stood in the church and forbade the marriage. It's written in the register for everyone to see, forbidden by his father. I can only imagine the scene that ensued. What I do know for certain, Simon didn't accept his father's decision, and he and Anne went all the way to Scotland, and a week later, on the 20th of December 1847, their marriage is recorded in Gretna Green in Scotland. I have no idea what transpired between December and May of the following year. But a month after his 21st birthday, Simon and Anne married again in the Church of England in Aysgarth. It was the 8th of May 1848, and it was their second marriage. This one was acceptable. From a farmer, he then became a Calvinist minister. Simon and Anne's first child was also a Simon and was born on the 10th of June in 1849. Unfortunately, the baby died. So naturally, they replaced him with another Simon. But this Simon is not my ancestor. No, my ne'er-do-well great-grandfather's name is Matthew Hunter. Matthew, who was born in 1867, was one of 9 children, and he was not a good man. He wasn't evil like his second cousin, Matthew Jackson Hunter, who was a criminally insane double murderer. No, Matthew was just not a good person. After marrying a widow with 1 child when he was 32, he produced 7 children, then left for Australia and never returned. Matthew had promised his wife Harriet that he would send for them, but he never did. Harriet Emma Davison married James Robert Revell, a hairdresser, who unfortunately, 12 months after the marriage, died, leaving her with a small child. Her father had died when she was 7 years old, and her mother was living in Lincolnshire. Harriet was all alone. She was 26 when she married Matthew Hunter in 1899 in Aysgarth, Yorkshire. Matthew was a bachelor and a farmer and 32 years of age. For reasons unknown, he moved the family to Burnley in Lancashire. And that's where, for 10 years after he left, Harriet supported the family by working as a domestic. In 1916, Matthew applied and was accepted into the AIF in Australia. He was 44 years of age and a bricklayer, and it states he was separated from his wife. Less than 12 months later, Matthew was medically discharged from the AIF. The reason for the discharge was senility. Unwittingly, Matthew had paved the way for Harriet. She saw an opportunity and she took it. On the 19th of July 1919, the Sydney Morning Herald announced the arrival of a ship called the Windhuck. It carried returned soldiers and their families. It named the soldiers and their wives. It named the wives. And at the very last sentence of the article, it mentioned the wife of M. Hunter and 6 children. Harriet made the arduous journey alone with her 6 surviving children. One of those children, aged 11, was my grandfather, Leonard Hunter. On arriving in Blackheath, Harriet was met with the reality that Matthew had installed another woman as his wife. But that wasn't a problem. Harriet could handle anything, and she did. I'm sure by now you have realised that Harriet, my great-grandmother, is my hero. So further investigation on Harriet's side of the family will be foremost on the agenda when I arrive in Yorkshire. What is her connection to Aysgarth? There are Davisons dotted all over the area, and I'm hoping to find the answer. But until then, I will leave you with this thought, and I will see you next time.